Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Keeping Score with Lazy. You saw the thumbnail, you probably seen the tweets as well. The Kings are bringing back Monte Mcnair, their GM. They're extending his contract. And honestly, it's well deserved and well earned. Here in Sacramento, we've been in basketball hell. We've had multiple coaches, multiple players, multiple GMs. But Monte Mcnair has finally brought some stability to Sacramento, and that's something that's well needed. So let's just get down into this. So Monte Mcnair, he had a great offseason. And you might ask, what did he do this offseason? He drafted Keegan Murray, who's been showing that he's a great rookie. He can hit threes, he can rebound, he can do a little bit of everything. They brought in Kevin Huerter. They traded for him from the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are a hot mess this year. Kevin Huerter is probably happy to be away from that, and he's excelling here in Sacramento. Monte Mcnair also signed Malik Monk, who's been looking like sixth man of the year sometimes here in Sacramento. And he also brought in Mike Brown. Now, a lot of people have mixed views about Mike Brown. Some people believe that Mike Brown has benefited from having great players, such as LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, even Steph Curry. Mike Brown is proving that it wasn't just all about the players around him. He's proving that he's a good coach, and he's changed the culture here in Sacramento. Now, let's go ahead and get into another culture here in Sacramento and talk about Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis came over from the Tyrese Halliburton trade. That trade was very controversial. A lot of people from the national media side criticized the trade and said, hey, how could you trade a young talent like that for Sabonis? And at the time, honestly, I was pretty upset about the trade. I'm a big Halliburton guy, but we got to move on from it. And it's easy to move on from it with the Kings winning the way they are. And Sabonis has had a big impact on that. Let's go over his numbers here. Sabonis is averaging 18, 12, and 7. Some people have even gone on to argue that Sabonis is one of the best big men in Kings history. And honestly, it's kind of looking like it. And that's kind of really surprising to say when you think about it. The Kings have had guys like DeMarcus Cousins, Chris Webber, and for Domantas Sabonis already to be considered one of the best big men in Sacramento just speaks to his game. He's almost averaging a triple-double and definitely should be an all-star this year. So going down the line after Sabonis, we got to talk about De'Aaron Fox. There was a lot of pressure on De'Aaron Fox after the trade. Some people felt that he should have been traded instead of Halliburton. A lot of people have criticized De'Aaron Fox's game because he's been in Sacramento for about 5-6 seasons now, and the team hasn't been able to win with him. Obviously, this year is different, and the Kings are playing much better. Fox is benefiting from playing with Sabonis, and he's able to score easier, and there's not such a heavy burden on his shoulders. As mentioned previously, Kevin Huerter, he's been having a great year. He's averaging 15, 3 and 3, and he's really benefited, I believe, from getting away from Trae Young. Now, I'm not here to criticize Trae Young, but the Atlanta Hawks are obviously having a difficult year. Some people believe he's a ball hog. People like John Collins, who are still on the team, they want to be traded from the team because they don't enjoy playing with him. Honestly, like I said, Huerter is here in Sacramento now, and he's playing great. He's benefiting from Sabonis and Fox and being that third option for the team. Another great player that's playing great in Sacramento is Malik Monk. As I mentioned, he's looking like sixth man of the year. He could be sixth man of the year. There have been flashes of him having great games. A lot of time he is the spark off the bench for the Kings. There's a lot of games where he comes in and he has a big dunk or hits a timely three and kind of changes the whole dynamic of the game. So Malik Monk, former Kentucky Wildcat with De'Aaron Fox, he's playing great and has definitely been a big part of the reason why the Kings are playing so good this year. So I went over a few reasons why the Kings are doing good this year. Obviously, Mike Brown is a great coach. The trade for Sabonis has worked out, and that win-now move is turned into wins for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox is playing great, and Huerter has been a great shooter for the Kings. Also, the Kings have benefited from the play from Keegan Murray. Now, with the Kings playing so good, it's kind of hard to find flaws. But one thing we can definitely find a flaw in is in their defense. They have one of the worst defenses in the league. But they make up for it because they have the #1 offense in the league. They score the most points. They're #1 in that, which is really amazing. Now, what can the Kings do to make their team better? They can be active in the trade market. Now, a lot of people here in Sacramento, they don't want to make a trade because they feel like the chemistry of the team can be thrown off. But Honestly, you're not going to go very far if you have this bad defense. I believe they should make a move for a guy like Mason Plumlee. Now, Mason Plumlee isn't the sexiest name. He's not an all-star. He's not this great player, but he's a good defensive player. He can score. He can do a little bit of everything. Now, when you make trades, you're not always going to get an all-star. Sometimes you get those role players that can help solidify your team. Now, one player I strongly believe that the Kings should go after is Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma has been linked to the Kings in the past. He even thought he was going to get traded to the Kings this offseason. It didn't happen, but I think the Kings should revisit that trade. The Washington Wizards are a team that wants to contend and win, but it's not happening. They need to just rebuild. They need to trade guys like Bradley Beal, get off Kuzma, get off Porzingis, do whatever they can. They should just tear that thing down. They've been trying for years to win. It ain't happening. I strongly believe the Kings should go after Kyle Kuzma. He kind of fits the timeline of De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. I believe he's a win-now player. I think he has a lot to offer, and I would not be afraid of giving him a big contract. So we talked about guys that the Kings should go after, like Kuzma, Mason Plumlee, but now let's talk about guys that the Kings could get rid of. Now, one guy that's kind of been in the doghouse is Richaun Holmes. When the Kings traded for Sabonis, Holmes' minutes kind of went down. His impact on the team went down, and he just hasn't really been used until recently due to injury to Sabonis' hand. I think there are plenty of teams out there that would like to have Richaun Holmes. He's a good offensive player, and he can play a little bit of defense. Definitely think his value is pretty marginal. I think someone would actually make a move for him. One guy that I believe that the Kings should trade, but they probably won't, is Harrison Barnes. Since the Kings traded for Harrison Barnes, he's been one of the most inconsistent players they have. Now, he's had a good stretch this year. He's played great. He's a good veteran presence. But I just think the Kings can really move on from him. Like I said, he's very inconsistent. He's going to have a new contract. I just wouldn't waste my time or money on him, and that's not a knock against him personally. He's a great person here in this community, but as a player, I would rather move on from him. Another person that could get traded, but it's highly doubtful before everyone jumps on me, is Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell is a great backup point guard. He's a great defensive player, but I just don't believe that. I just don't think that he's untouchable. I think if there's a trade out there and you can get someone good for him, go for it. Why not, honestly? You already traded Tyrese last year. Don't be afraid to double down with Davion. Now, Keegan's untouchable. Don't be trading Keegan Murray. So, just wrapping things up, as I mentioned, Kings are bringing back Monte Mcnair. He's made great moves this offseason. Everything's paid off from the hiring of Coach Mike Brown, from the acquisition of Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk. Everything's really worked out for the Kings this year. And in the past, Monte Mcnair has made some questionable moves, signing people like Hassan Whiteside, Tristan Thompson, letting Luke Walton stick around for way too damn long. Glad he's gone. Personal vendetta there. But yeah, Monte Mcnair, he's done a great job this year. The Kings are one of the top 10 three-point shooting teams in this league. They have the best offense. They got to work on their defense. But I think the future is bright for the Beam team. Everyone's loving them. There's been memes made. There's been songs made. The vibes are good in Sacramento, and that's why Monte Mcnair is being brought back. But hey, you tell me what you think. You let me know in the comments, am I wrong about Davion Mitchell? Am I wrong about Kyle Kuzma? Now is your time to voice your opinion. So with that being said, thanks again for watching the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Help me fight the algorithm. I need the help, trust me. But with all that being said, you guys have a good one. I'm gonna keep creating content, so stick with me. And I am out.